Doodlebud here. This is the Admok, I've never heard of that name before, the Admok M805, which looks just a little, I guess a little bit like this pen over here, the Pelikan M805. This one sells for about $72 Canadian, and this one for about 10 times that price. Is this any good? Well, let's check it out. So first, a big thanks to 365 Day Stationery. They run a store on Aliexpress. They sent me this pen to review and share my thoughts with everyone who was potentially eyeing this pen out. And I gotta tell you, I was curious because I love my Pelikan M805. They are very expensive. I didn't pay nearly what the regular retail price is for mine. Whatever price you get, it's expensive. How good is this for a very small fraction of that price? It's still a bit, what 72 Canadian is what 52 US, something like that. But let's give it a quick look. I had to do this as soon as I got the pen. I wanted to see, it threads. It's off a smidge, but it actually does work. It actually fits better on the Pelikan body than the Pelikan cap on the Admok. This is something funny though, so let's take a look at this. Actually, let me get the macro lens. On the cap band, you can see it says Admok. I don't know what that means. On the back side here, says China. The Pelikan obviously says Germany. And then, this is the funny part, it says Ingenuity. I don't know if they know what ingenuity really means. In case they don't know, I'll let them know. It means you are being original, inventive, not when you just make a cheap version of this. Anyways, so that part is kind of comical. Shares all the same design cues as the Pelikan M805, so if this will be forever out of your price range, here you go. I mean, I know these are crazy expensive. So here's something that is significantly less and has a lot of the same features. Let's go through. Of course, it has the little bit here on top. They did laser engraving, which is what Pelikan does on theirs now. If you compare back to an older one, this is my M1000. They made their own little finial. I think that's a nicer detail. But, that's going to be more expensive than just zapping something in with a laser. It's cost savings, so of course they went with that. The plating quality on here is decent. The cap does come undone in just over one turn. There's one, and so it's like 1 1/8. The proper Pelikan M805 or M800 series in general comes off perfectly in one rotation, so they're off a smidge. It is interesting though, the threads do swap, so it probably just got a little bit extra thread on there. Come down, body's all, as far as dimensionally, super, super close, even the same stripe pattern there. They did switch up a little bit in the back. So you can see here, we got the piston knob on both of them, and it's quite a bit more of a step down to this knob. So the diameter is smaller on the Admok, and I guess that's maybe just for when you post it, it doesn't turn the knob. Like on my Pelikan M805, you put it on, you're not twisting the knob whatsoever. But it is a weird thing with Chinese manufactured pens. If there is a vac filler knob or a piston knob, so often either the pen doesn't post properly, it's like not the best securing for post, doesn't post very deep or something, or when you put it on, it starts turning the knob. So I don't know what the deal is with that. This one, they just went a little bit extra, I guess, to ensure the knob would not turn. So when you post it, it doesn't turn the knob, so that's all good. That's a nice relief. But it is interesting. They went a little extra on the step down in order to do that. There is a little step down in the cap. We're not going to be able to see it. That does provide the seal on here at the end of the section, just as it does on the Pelikan M805. And this pen is always sealed up, ready to go. This one's fantastic as well. So the seal works quite well. I do have to say the clip is really good. They nailed the springiness on that clip. Of course, they took the exact same design. Some tiny little differences if you care, but they're so close. But the Pelikan clip is a very, very good clip. Fits on quite nice. The springiness is spot on. This one's really good. They did do a fantastic job on the clip. So congratulations for a good copy on that one. Overall, pen writes well. This one, there's a few different nib options. So there's Schmidt. This has the Schmidt. You can also get Bach. It's an upcharge for the Bach, but I gotta tell you, this has a Schmidt. This has got a medium. I think it's fine, medium, and broad for the Schmidt, and then like fine and medium for Bach, I think. Anyways, there'll be a link down below. You can check out what they got. This one writes wonderfully. I've never had problems with Schmidt nibs. They're not like my most favorite, but every single time I use one, I have zero complaints. Let's give you a little close up here. You can see the section. Body, there is no ink window. But the one good thing is there's a lot of different colors going on. See, it looks like you get a few little bubbles in the swirls and stuff like that. But again, at this price point, I'm not expecting perfection. Speaking of the price point, as Pelikan does have a fairly high price point for their pen compared to a lot of other alternatives, so does this one if you compare it to some other alternatives. I'll just pick out this one here. This is the Asfine. Oh, what is it now? I think it's the P20. I think. Anyways, I'll put a link down in the description. Again, this is looking extremely like a Leonardo Momento Zero. But this is, I don't know, about $20-ish less than the Admok. And you have really good build quality on here. You have an ink window as well. So I just find, for the build, I find the Asfine's a little bit better build quality. On here, you can still see some of the glue. I'll put that macro back on. Now again, this doesn't impact the performance of the pen, but just little things I notice here. So a little bit of glue residue down there. On the inside, you can really start to see it. You can just see the extra little bit of residue of the glue along here. You can even see some of the bubbles. Here's a whole bunch of bubbles in the glue. I don't see that with some of the other pens. So say the Asfine pens, I never find any of that glue residue on their pens. So those are just some of the details. If I compare it to say this P20 and I look around the cap band, it is executed perfectly. I don't see any of that residue. Again, this doesn't impact the pen, but if you're in the market, there is a difference in build quality. Some of the positives above the Pelikan is color options. That is one thing. It'd be sort of cool. They have, this green stripe version is probably the most popular. So you can get that in the M805. They also have the blue. There's just the straight black. You can get the Stressman. Sometimes there's special ones, but the color options are fairly limited. For here, tons of colors. So that's great. You can even mix and match. If you got a couple of them and you want to mix and match pen caps and bodies, you can do that as well. So that is kind of a nice thing. The resin is decent. I wouldn't say it's anything exquisite compared to other ones. I find it scratches up a little bit maybe, and that's, again, it could just be my imagination, but it seems just to scratch up a little easier than some of the other ones. I haven't noticed any real scratches at all on my Asfine pens. With this one, yeah, it just seems to get scuffed up a little bit easier. Dimensionally, the pens are almost identical. They are so close. So let's give the actual physical dimensions. 140.5 when it's like so. Pop off the cap, just the pen. I'm getting a little bit over 128. You post it, about 164.5. Overall weight of the pen, it is 23 grams, 8.7 in the cap, 14.3 in the body. And I did a weight difference when I filled it up. I was getting about 1.5 milliliters of ink. Cap diameter was about 14.7, the body just over 13. Section goes from about 12.5, and it's got a little neck here. You can see about 10.5 down there. And overall length of the section about 20 millimeters. You do have the threads here, but they're not intrusive at all. They're comfortable. They're not too sharp or anything like that. And since we have the pens right here in handy, let's just do side by side. We got the number 6 Schmidt steel nib, and then the Pelikan gold nib. For the writing sample, we have Clairefontaine paper. The ink, I honestly cannot 100% remember. It might be Robert Oster's Dragon's Night, and I'm going to include a terrible dad joke in the writing sample. How does the pen write? It writes fantastic. This Schmidt nib on here is extremely smooth. The flow is fantastic, very nice and juicy. I can only say great things about how the pen writes. The construction, it's okay. Of course, the looks are fabulous. Hats off to Pelikan for making the original design. The stripes that are on the barrel, all that stuff is absolutely gorgeous. You can absolutely feel the difference in your hand instantly between the build quality, and I hope you should be able to. For this one, you know, there are other pens. I just have this one handy, so I'm just going to keep talking about this one. But for a bit less, you can get a just as equally good medium nib. Writes really well, and I just find the build quality is a little bit higher. So I'm not sure if they're just trying to take advantage a little bit about the prestige this pen has and the price it typically fetches, and they're just trying to include themselves in that. I do find it funny. Ingenuity is on the cap, and they're even using the same name. They're not even trying to change anything, and I guess maybe they're trying to get swept in with the word searches and keywords, that if someone looks for the M805, hopefully this appears in the search somewhere as well. So if you're going to do this, at least do a different name, but I understand why they're doing it. So yeah. If you are in the market for the legit Pelikan M800 or M805, but you're a little hesitant, you'd like to try before you buy, you don't know anyone that has one that you could try out or go to a pen show or a store, this is an alternative. You can try one out. I do find the price is a little bit high, just comparatively with other things you can get. Other than that, though, construction's good. The nib seals perfectly. All that general stuff. The piston's relatively smooth. It's not brass construction like on here. It's all plastic stuff, but whatever. They do include, I think this is the box. Sometimes stuff gets mixed up here around my my little quasi studio, but there is a little wrench here. I believe this is the wrench that goes with it as well, so you can take it out and service it. I wouldn't get in there that often. You typically don't need to. Just with these parts, the more you take it apart, the more prone it is to breaking. So that would be my only words of wisdom, is be mindful and minimal when you come to disassembling everything. All I can say is about the Admok is, well, you know, nice try. I think if you tried a little harder, you could do a little bit better. Just some of the final fit and finish on this. But overall, it pens. It does a great job penning, and all sorts of cool colors that are there. Thanks again to 365 Days Stationery for providing this for review. I'll have a link down below. They got lots of great stuff. While you're clicking and doing stuff, leave a comment, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't hit it. Just hit it already, so then we can catch you next time.